I read a lot of manga. No question. I read so much that my brain does the classic bit of zoning into the conversation around me once I hear a word that triggers my memory of something from one of the many bits of media I consume.
Well, it is sad, that your house burnt down. At least you and your family made it out in one piece. Wait, what is that music?
While I have started to do a bit of manga focused content on my channel, I primarily focus on fan made Pokemon, or Fakemon. So, what if I shoved the brain thoughts from my corroded mind into the Fakemon? Hey guys, Jodomreel's back with another video, and it feels like it's been a little bit since I made a video about Pokemon, so I wanted to make one. So I had the idea of turning characters from different mangas I read into fake Pokemon from my fan-made region, Capelago, which is based on Australia, Malta, the Caribbean, and many other islands from around the world. Oh, there you are. Long time no see, you two. Did you guys get lost in my boxes when we moved? Well, welcome back. Today I'm going to be making more Pokemon. Oh, that word means something to you too? Might have to tell Professor Bonsai about these two. Oh, one thing I do want to say here, spoiler warning for any of the manga or anime series I mention in this video. I will not say any spoilers before saying the name of the series as to give a chance to avoid the spoilers. Once I say the name of the series, however, I will not try to hide anything that is a spoiler. So here's your warning now. Anyways, let's get into the video. The first Fakemon of this video is inspired by a really comedic manga famous for its length. Time to make a Fakemon based on the only One Piece. Now, since One Piece has over 1,000 plus characters, the question is, which one do I make into a Pokemon? Well, one day, while chatting with my friend Gibster, go check him out by the way, we were talking about One Piece, and while we were chatting, I thought of the idea to make a Fakemon based on the king of snipers himself, Sogeking, as well as the Straw Hat, who is the close friend to him, God Usopp. Since Usopp and or Sogeking mostly get turned into a plant or bug, I wanted to make them something else. Like for example, a Marlin. Let's get into the drawing. Now you're probably wondering, why a Marlin of all things? Well, if I make the bill long and sharp and combine it with an archerfish, the bill could become a sniper rifle barrel, and we all know Usopp is a sniper. For those of you who don't know, an archerfish is a species of fish that hunts bugs by spitting water projectiles at branches near the water surface, causing the bugs to fall and be eaten. And I can throw some swordfish inspiration as well, because the bill and face are kind of shaped like a rapier with a semicircle hilt. Plus, I can make the main fins be the ray parts of the Sogeking mask, and the tail pattern slightly resemble the slingshot Kabuto. I made the shiny colors based on Usopp's Dressrosa outfit. Here is Sogestio, the sniper Pokemon, from Sogeking and Istiompax, part of the scientific name for a Marlin, a water and flying type. Sogestio can compress water in its barrel-like bill and shoot it at high speeds. It is said that the water bullets can fly across an entire city and still perfectly hit its mark. The sun-like face patterns are said to bring courage to this otherwise cowardly creature, as legend says that the face patterns are based on a courageous king who could hit any target from anywhere. Sogestio has both a signature ability and a signature move. The ability is called Pop Green, which gives Sogestio Stab, or same type advantage boost, for grass type moves, based on how Usopp gains Pop Green attacks post time skip. The custom move is King Star, a special grass type move that can't miss its target and deals 1.5 times damage if the opponent didn't damage the user in the previous turn. All in all, this design turned out so well, and I think I turned this King of Snipers into a very cool Fakemon. Next is one of the protagonists of a very unique series. This protagonist, introduced right before what would be the modern-day halfway mark, is known for her dual personalities, or I guess more like someone else now lives in her body. I'm referring to the one and only Asa Mitaka, and her other personality, Yoru, the War Devil, both from Chainsaw Man. This design I made for this video was an older design actually, originally intended for a sequel video to this one, where I made Fakemon from characters in the Chainsaw Man series. But since I lost motivation to make the video, I didn't really do much and it just kind of sat around. But I decided to reuse it here. Since I made a 2-stage Fakemon line for the other horseman, Control, I wanted to make one for War. Since I turned Control into a husky dog due to the connections there, I decided to make War Devil into a bird, specifically an Urutau, which is the species of bird that Yoru takes the form of before inhabiting Asa's corpse. For the first evolution, I basically just made a stylized Potu bird with slight patterns to break up the colors and red eyes shown in the Volume 12 cover of Yoru. The evolution is where it starts getting interesting though. I made Yoru's iconic face scar into face feathers, but made them symmetrical. I made the bird body more human-like, similar to what I did with Contran's evolution, Tsushiba. Here's one of my personal favorite details, the wings. The wings are patterned to reference Yoru's ripped shirt and sleeves during the Aging Devil arc, and the darker parts are to resemble her gun and tank gauntlets from that same arc. Since she primarily uses gun's power of the two, I made the gun aspect more prominent. One fun reference, however, is that I made the gun part resembling ice. This is because, in the previous Chainsaw Man Fakemon video, I made a Pokemon based on the Gun Devil, which was an ice type, because it was also based on Aki. Plus, there was this other sketch that of a scrapped gun goddess design that would have been like a Diancie if, like, the previous Gun Devil Pokemon was like Carbink. But since I never made a follow-up video, that one stayed scrapped. And I might reuse it again, who knows? I made some of the feathers resemble the long skirt worn in Asa's school uniform. I made the shinies a pale bluish gray and made the evolution more red. Here is Warutaru, the War Pokemon, from War, Yoru, and Urutaru, a fighting and dark type. It is said that this little bird is very violent. There have been reports of wild Warutarus taking things that they believe belong to them and using it to fight other humans or Pokemon. When given the Icy Glove, Warutaru can evolve. Let's evolve it, shall we? Here is Gaunttu, the Gauntlet Wing Pokemon, from Potu, another name for the bird species, and Gauntlet, since Yoru has the gauntlets made of gun and tank, a fighting and steel type. This species of Fakemon tend to act very egotistical, and love to act like they can take on any obstacle in their way. Gaunttus are very aggressive, best shown through their violent tendencies and seemingly trigger-happy nature. Gaunttu has a signature move called Gauntlet Wings. This fighting type special attack has a chance to burn or freeze the target, showing the ice type of gun and the fire tank of whatever future tank devil Pokemon I make. All in all, I think Yoru of the Four Horsemen was portrayed very well in this design. Next design is from a completed manga that I have read in full, and I loved every single bit of it. Dungeon Meshi, or Delicious in Dungeon for all the anime watchers here. I wanted to make some sort of Fakemon for this wonderful series, but couldn't think of what to do. My first idea was to make a small version of the Red Dragon that then evolves into the Fallon Chimera, but all of the designs that I made did not look good. I then remembered one of my favorite scenes from the series, that being the Dungeon Rabbits. The dancing scene, plus the whole idea of lagomorphs equipped with blades to slit their target's throat, is very comical to me, as well as explaining Laios' unique armor collar in-universe. Let's get to drawing. I made the ears blades, as well as making the ankle blades like in the original animal. I made a ring of neck fur to reference the armor collar, and made a red pattern resembling the area they tend to target on their prey. I also used the red to make a chest area to resemble blood falling down from the victim's torso, just like on how the main cast bleeds when they get their necks cut. I posed the arm to have the Fakemon doing the hand gesture of slitting a throat, as if it's threatening you about what it will do to you. I made the shiny copper instead of the nondescript gray metal of the original, as well as doing the classic shiny tactic of swapping red with blue. Here is Usagi Phone, the sharp hair Pokemon, from Usagi, Japanese for rabbit, and Chiffonade, a kind of cutting technique. A steel type. This species is said to be very territorial, and they don't hesitate to slice trespassers. Their ankle blades are famous for never being dull, and there are stories of people collecting these blades throughout history for both knives, but also for good luck charms. All in all, I am very happy with how this horrifying bunny turned out as a Fakemon. The last mon in this video is from a more recent series, that being Dandadan. Kind of as a celebration of Season 2, I wanted to make a mon based on Jean Enjoji, better known as Gigi. Not only Gigi, but also the spirit that possesses him, Evil Eye. There were many things I wanted to include for these two, but first I had to figure out what to turn Gigi into other than a generic humanoid mon. I then remembered an animal that doesn't have a Pokemon yet that works really well for how the Evil Eye functions. A sea otter. For this design, I wanted a Fakemon that had two forms, with the transformation being based on how Evil Eye takes control in the actual manga, that being via water temperatures, which makes sense for being an otter as well, and instead of having a favorite rock like actual otters, this mon has a ball of water reminiscent of Evil Eye's Soul Soccer Ball. I added a talisman-like pattern on its torso, which darkens and breaks in the Evil Eye form, showing how the Evil Eye took over. In its base form, I added a red area to represent Gigi's hair, and gave it some stylized silly eyes to represent how Gigi is what I call the silliest on the cast, with Vamola at second because Gigi taught her in-universe brain rot. For the Evil Eye form, however, there are a lot of fun things. Firstly, the previous mentioned water ball. Then, the purple patterns resembling the face and shoulder pattern on Evil Eye. Third, the tail has a rainbow to represent the rainbow earrings, since any attempt to make earrings on this looked terrible. I also stylized the eyes to show that Evil Eye is way more serious than Gigi. For their shinies, I made the base form shiny have some pinks, while for Evil Eye's form, I made the shiny have different tones of yellow. The yellows are to reference the colored energy of the Mongolian death worm, since Evil Eye's powers counteract the worm that kills yourself, and I wanted to represent the worm's colors in the shiny due to that. Here is Gijot, the Otter Eye Pokemon, from Gigi and Otter, a water type. Gijot is said to be a very comical and laid-back species, preferring to make jokes and comedy over focusing too much on the serious stuff. Because of Gijot's ability Water Sense, however, if it gets frozen or hit with a water-type move that has a chance to freeze, it will change from its base form into its possessed form, gaining the Psychic type along with its already Water type. When Gijot's in the possessed form, there is no reasoning with it. Stories tell of a possessed G-Jot being sacrificed to an unknown worm-like Pokemon long ago. Possessed G-Jot uses psychic waves to control cold water and play with it like a ball, as well as using those psychic waves to cause its opponents to be weakened and faint all by themselves. It is said that the only way to change G-Jot back into its base form is to burn it, hit it with the move Scald, or weaken it down to a quarter of its full health. All in all, I love how this design turned out, and I think Gigi and Evil Eye were represented very well here. And there you have it. Characters from manga turned into Fakemon for Pokemon Stick and Pokemon Stone. What do you guys think of the designs? Which one was your favorite? Tell me down in the comments. Oh, I forgot you two were here. What are you guys up to? Wait, what? You found some sort of weird compass? Let me see. Oh, this is strange. Maybe soon we can follow this and see where it's pointing, since I can tell you it's definitely not going north. Anyway, I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the future.